Welcome to this Somatic Stretch and Shake class for the summer season, or Pitta season, as we refer to it in Ayurveda. It's a season of fire and water. It's hot, it's sharp, it's intense. Pitta lives in this part of the body, so during the yoga section of this class, we'll be working with opening the ribs, some side stretching to release heat, and then we'll move into 3 rounds of shaking to release tension. Pitta can be tense. They tend to hold a lot. They do a lot. Pitta is about focus and intensity and that drive, that motivation to go, but it can turn into overdoing and burning out. So we'll move through 3 rounds of the movement with pauses to feel into our bodies. And then we'll end with some restorative poses geared toward Pitta Dosha and relaxation, which is what Pitta really needs, to cool down, to slow down, to quiet the mind. If you would like to follow along with a playlist, look at the link below. There's a Spotify playlist link below. I really recommend it to get that full experience, but you can also do it with your own playlist. You can do it in silence, whatever feels the best for you today. So if you're going to use the Spotify playlist, pause this for a moment, pull up the playlist, and I'll let you know when to start it so that we're all on the same page. So before starting the music, let's just take a moment to come into this space together. So if it feels comfortable for you to close your eyes, or have a soft gaze. And just take a moment to feel your body in your space, finding some comfort in your position, whatever position you're in. It doesn't need to be rigid, doesn't need to be strict, but finding the comfort, the ease, that connection with earth, with ground. Noticing your breath moving in and out of your body. And often as we notice our breath, it naturally lengthens. You don't need to put a lot of effort in here, but just paying attention, bringing your attention to your breath, to your body. Just taking a moment to pull all the pieces of you that may be in other places, with work, with what you've already done today, with what still needs to be done, with family, friends, kids. Wherever pieces of you are out in the world, pull them back in so that you can be fully present with your body. Everything I offer is an invitation. So if there's something that doesn't feel right in your body or good, please feel free to modify it. You can be doing something different than what I'm doing. If you'd like to come in to fuller expressions of the poses that I'm offering, please feel free to do that. And during the shake, if the sensation or emotion ever gets too much, feel free to pause, come into a child's pose, or any way that you can ground back in. We're not trying to push through and have any type of cathartic experience here. We're really trying to listen to our body and not overdo, especially in this Pitta season. Pitta likes to overdo, and so we're going to try to do at 50 to 70% of capacity. So as you're ready, open your eyes, and you can start your playlist now if you're using it. And we're going to move into a 4-legged position. And so we're going to start by just doing some circles around the wrist, circling the body around, bringing movement synovial fluid into the wrists and the knees. Letting that movement be as big or small as feels good for you. And then we're going to let that movement turn into cat and cow stretches. So moving your spine up towards the ceiling in cat stretch. Letting your belly drop towards the floor and heart open for the cow. And just following your breath. We're just waking up the body. And you can continue with that, or you could move into C curves, bringing your shoulder and hip towards each other on either side, bringing it into that side stretch. And then just take a moment to follow your body in whatever would feel good to help waken up your hips, your spine, your head and your neck. And then coming back to center, we're going to reach out through the right toes, bringing the right toes to the floor, and then gently pulse back through the right leg, bringing the stretch into the calf, maybe a little bit up into the hamstring. And then bringing the seam, the inner seam of the right foot to the floor. Bring the left foot out like a kickstand, and bringing your weight into your left hand, down through your left knee, and through the right foot, opening up through the side into a gate pose, or a modified gate pose, and circling the upper arm. One direction, and the other direction. And you can imagine really opening through the rib cage. You can almost imagine there's a little vent right here that's releasing heat. And then the next time that your arm is up, imagine somebody pulling your fingers up all the way, and then walking your hands forwards in front of your body, coming down onto your forearms, letting your head rest down towards the floor, and then stretching back through your hips in this modified puppy stretch. Finding your breath here. And then straightening through your arms, walking your hands all the way back into that table stretch. Bringing the right foot to the outside of the hands in a lizard stretch, letting hips, pelvis drop down towards the floor, heart gently raise. Finding your breath, letting your weight drop down through your body. And then we're dropping your weight into your left hand as you let your right arm float up towards the ceiling, right fingertips to in front of the armpit, and then right elbow towards the floor. And we're going to do that 3 more times. So letting your arm unfurl up, and then bringing elbow towards the floor. And one last time. Unfurling up towards the ceiling, fingertips towards the armpit, and then elbow towards the floor. Bringing your hand to the floor. Bring your back knee up off the floor and press back into downward facing dog. Walking your heels. And just taking a moment to notice the difference between the two sides of your body. And then coming back down on to your knees. Stretching back through the left toes, keeping left toes on the floor, and then just pulsing through the left heel, letting it gently open. Remember, we're going at about 50 to 70% of what our full capacity is. We don't need to overdo in the summer. We're already moving a lot in the summer. And then bringing the inner seam of your left foot to the floor, I'm going to turn around so that I'm facing you. Bringing your right foot out like a kickstand, bringing the weight into the right hand. As you open up through the ribs of the left side, circling the left arm. And moving in the other direction. And imagining those vents in your rib cage, that there's little vents or gills that open and let the heat release. And then bringing your arm up, coming all the way up into an upright position, and then walking the hands out in front of you, forearms to the floor, letting hips sink back into a modified puppy stretch. Finding your breath here. And then walking your hands back around to the top of your mat, bringing the left foot to the outside of the hands and dropping down into a lizard stretch, letting your weight drop down through your knee, your hands, your foot, your tailbone as your heart opens. And then letting your weight really drop through the right hand as your left hand reaches up towards the ceiling, fingertips to in front of armpit, and then left elbow towards the floor. It does not need to touch the floor. This is just a little bit of mobility. So we're going to do this 4 times total. And then after the 4th time, bringing your hand down to the floor, bringing your toes, lifting the back knee, and then pressing into your hands as you reach back to downward facing dog. Taking a moment here. You can walk through the feet. You can move hips side to side. And then walking your hands and feet towards each other. Coming into a forward bend. Knees can be a little bent here. They don't need to be straight. Letting your head drop into the flow of gravity. Gently shaking your head yes and no. And then lengthening your spine. Coming up onto your right fingertips and then lifting the left arm off the floor. Coming to a gentle twist. Bringing the left arm down. Lengthening through your spine, letting your right fingertips float. Coming back down. Let's do it one more time to each side, your own pace. And then rooting down through the feet, bending the knees a little bit, and peeling your upper body off of your thighs as you move all the way up, arms meeting overhead, and hands coming back down through center to your sides. And taking a moment here, letting your eyes close. Taking a moment to feel the imprint of those movements in your body. Taking a couple slow breaths. And then rooting down through your feet. You can let your eyes flutter open, arms up overhead, lengthening through your feet and up and over to one side. And once again, imagining those vents along your rib cage. So instead of really going from your waist, keeping your hips rooted down, moving down towards the earth as your rib cage opens. Letting that heat, imagining the heat vent out of your body. And then coming up through center. Lengthening and Moving through your rib cage on the other side, letting the heat move out through the vents. Making sure that you can breathe. And moving all the way back up through center, letting your hands float down to your sides, rolling your shoulders up towards your ears, and the other direction. Bringing your feet a little farther apart and just letting your arms be like empty coat sleeves as you swing side to side, bringing a little gentle twist into the body, letting any tension in your spine fling out into the space, into the room. Imagine that tension that just keeps on going, leaving your body. And then letting that slow down, bringing a little bit of movement into the hips, circling the hips in one direction and the other direction. And then finding a pause, feeling your feet on the floor, closing eyes, letting your joints be soft. Finding your breath. Okay, we're going to do one more little set of standing poses. So let's bring the feet out wider than hip width, pretty wide. And we're going to turn the left toes to point towards the front of the top of the mat. Right toes are pointing forward. And then bring hands to your hips and just feel your hips shift. Imagine that you're leaning out over a countertop, sliding along that countertop. And once you've come to about 50 to 70% of your capacity, bring your fingertips down to your thigh, your knee, your shin, wherever they land. Upper arm can be up, it can be out to the side, it can be down, it can be on your hip. Find the position that's comfortable for your shoulder. Head can be looking down, it can be looking straight ahead, it can be looking up towards the ceiling. Once again, finding the position that's comfortable for your neck. And then just letting yourself open up through that rib cage, releasing heat. And then bringing your back arm up as if somebody's pulling your fingertips back up to standing. And we'll turn toes in the other direction. You can start with your hands on your hips. Really feel the hips move. Lengthening out through right fingertips, sliding along the table, 50 to 70%. You do not need to go all the way out. You can be like this. It's fine. Just finding your expression of this position. And then pivoting the arms, bringing the upper arm into whatever position feels great. And bringing your head into whatever position feels easeful for your neck. Summer is intense. There's a lot of intensity and movement that happens in the summer. It's okay to create ease in your body this time of year. Coming back up, turning the toes to point forwards, letting your arms drop to your sides, heel toeing your toes back in. And then taking a moment to tune back in to your internal landscape. Feeling your joints soften. Feeling this base level. Noticing what is moving in your body, where there's sensation, where there's tightness, stagnancy, tension, where there's ease and flow. And just really tuning in to your internal landscape. It doesn't matter what it looks like from the outside. What we're really looking for is what's happening inside. We're going to begin the shake. So bringing a little bit of a gentle bounce. You can lift your heels up and down to bring a little bit of a gentle bounce. Bending your knees, keeping your joints soft, letting that vibration move through your body easily. Sometimes I just like to let my arms really flop, let my whole body really flop, but really just let that vibration come from my heels. And then just let the shake evolve. How does your body want to shake? There's absolutely no way to do this wrong. What would feel good? You don't need to have to dance for this. This is not dancing. You don't need to have rhythm. You don't need to look cool or graceful. It's really just about agitating the mass, moving the body, getting everything moving so that we're moving stagnation that happens in the body, so that we're completing stress responses. Our bodies love to shake. You can shake at a different tempo than how the music is played. You can shake really fast. You can shake really slow. There's benefits to moving your body in this way. If you feel a little bit silly, that's great. That means that you're doing it right. That means that you are moving past inhibitions, moving past cultural norms around looking weird, and you're letting yourself be a little silly. Pitta Dosha can be very serious. Pitta is very focused. It can be this dosha of intensity, of focus, of drive, but they can get really stuck in that intensity, and they can forget to play and have fun. Let yourself be curious. If you can approach your body with a sense of curiosity, what feels good, what feels interesting, what would happen if I did this, it's a great way to approach this practice. If at any time it starts to feel like too much, you can always slow it down or even stop and come into a child's pose. Pitta can also tend to carry a lot of tension in their shoulders. So bringing some shake, some movement into the shoulders can be great. And then letting it slow down, finding a pause. You can close eyes or have an internal focus, soft gaze. Finding your breath, noticing sensation, noticing tingling, heat, energy moving. Noticing your breath slowing down in the pause. And the pause doesn't need to be still. There might still be a little bit of a sway, a little bit of a movement in the pause. You can let your joints remain soft and let that movement move through your body. Just letting everything settle. And we're going to be preparing for the second round of shaking. So bringing the shake back in, You can start with feet, or you could start with hands. You could see what happens if you shake your head side to side, shoulders, hips. It can be really fun to initiate the shake from one area of the body, keeping the joints soft and noticing how it ripples out into the rest of your body. Like I'm shaking from my hips right now, but I'm letting my shoulders and my elbows and my wrists soft, and I'm feeling how it ripples out through everything. Or if I initiate from my shoulders, how does it ripple down into my legs and feet and ankles? And like I said, there's no way to do this wrong. So really just do whatever feels good. You can have eyes open, eyes closed. Jumping is great if your body likes to jump. It's a really great for our bone health. If jumping feels too intense for you, don't do it. Remember, we don't need to get that pitta too intense. We can keep things kind of chill. You don't have to stay on your mat either. Feel free to move around your space. Let this really be your practice. What feels good for you? What do you want to do? Stamping your feet can feel good sometimes. It's also a great way to move emotions like anger. Pitta can tend towards anger and frustration and irritability. Pushing with your hands, pushing away, creating boundaries. There's so many levels that this practice can work at. There's the physical, but there's also our energetic, emotional levels of really moving things through our bodies. You can move between levels, bending your knees, coming into a squat. You could get down onto your knees and shake. You could lie on the ground, shake your feet and hands and the arm like a little bug that's on its back. You can get into a downward dog and get that booty going. Just explore. Let it be fun. Let it be silly. We don't need to take ourselves so seriously. I mean, just think. You're doing this most likely in a private space, in your home. No one else is watching you. Maybe the cat, maybe the dog. I'm doing this on video where potentially lots and lots of people can see it. So, let's normalize moving our bodies in unconventional ways. And always knowing that you can come back to that, just moving your heels, letting your arms release. This practice also helps to train our nervous systems to move from activated states to more parasympathetic states. And so when we practice in this container, it helps our body learn how to do this so that when we're actually in places where we get activated, where we get stressed, which is inevitable, it's part of life, there's nothing wrong with it, But it helps us to learn how to have that resilience, how to move between these states. And then letting it slow down, finding that pause, closing eyes or having a soft gaze. Bringing your attention inward. Finding a moment of quiet. Just being with your body and your breath. Feeling your heartbeat, noticing sensations. And feeling everything settle. We're going to be moving into our third and final round of shaking in a moment. And now letting the shake come back into your body. And knowing that you can move in a different tempo than the music is. You can move faster, you can move slower. Just listening to your body. After that activity, how does your body want to move now after those 2 rounds of shaking that we've had? Does it want to slow down a little bit? Not your mind, but your body. Or does it still have some stuff that it needs to get out? Does it need to move a little bit faster? Does it need to push? Does it need to stamp? Just finding what works for your body. Is there any part of your body that has not been shaken that wants to be shaken? Whoops. Sorry, I shook my microphone off. I'm probably just going to leave that in because that's real. That's real life. So is there any part of your body that has not been shaken that wants to be shaken? Let out any sighs, any sounds. Whew. What do you need to let go of? And then letting it slowly start to come to a close, letting it slow down. Once again, finding that pause, soft gaze or eyes closed, whatever feels right for you. If there's a sway, if there's movement in that pause, just let your body do that. Don't try to stop it. A pause is not necessarily about complete stillness. It's just about pausing. It's about listening. It's about tuning back in to your body and noticing what's alive for you right now, what's present, what sensations. What emotions, what's here for you right now. The next section that we're going to move into is an eyes closed, body-led movement. And so following along that thread that I was just talking about, How does your body want to move right now? What would feel good? Is there a stretch, a movement that would feel good in your body? Just follow it. It doesn't have to be something that you've ever done before. It doesn't have to make sense. It doesn't have to look good. But just noticing what your body wants. And if you're not sure, just come back to that pause and just listen. And you can even drop in the question, what would feel good right now? And it might answer in an impulse to move your body in a certain way, or an image. You can be standing, you can move down to a four-legged position. You can lie down on the ground, you can be seated. There's no right or wrong way to do this. It's really just being with our bodies and building relationship. Listening to what your body actually wants, not what your mind is telling it that it should do. Sometimes it can look like movement that repeats, repetitive movement. It might look like a pose or a stretch you've done before, but don't get stuck in that. If you find yourself in a pose that you've done before, let there be space for your body to move a different way in it. What part of your body really needs to be stretched right now? The movements can be really subtle. It could be as subtle as fingers moving, toes moving. It doesn't have to be a big movement. It could be big. And you can always come back to stillness. Sometimes that's actually what our bodies are craving, especially if we live lives where we're always in movement. Stillness or the pause might be the thing that your body really wants and needs. Just continuing to follow those threads, those impulses. Noticing your breath. And if this feels weird or kind of foreign, that's okay. We're not taught to do this in our lives. And so it can feel really unfamiliar at first. And it can feel kind of weird. But the more that you create that dialogue, that relationship with the body, the more benefits you get from doing this kind of movement. When we can listen to our body in this small container, then we can begin to listen to our bodies more in other places, in our relationship with food, in our relationship with work, and with other forms of exercise. We can begin to feel and hear our body's cues and signals more. And this is just like a little lab that we get to play with it, that we get to develop that skill. And letting whatever flow that you're in find its completion. And once you've found that completion, just pause for a moment. Notice the impact of that movement. And then meet me in a seated position. And we're going to move into a restorative position. You can, if you have bolsters or blocks, you can use those, but you also don't need them. We're just going to start by coming into a downward facing dog. Lengthen through the left leg, and then bring the left knee in between the hands, walking the right foot backwards. You can have a little bit of gentle activation in your left foot to help protect the left knee. And you can just come down on to forearms, letting your head, you can have head resting in hands, or if you make it all the way to the floor, you can be down on the floor. But we're just going to take a few minutes here in this pigeon pose. If you need more support in this pose, you could bring a bolster underneath your chest. You could bring a block underneath the left sits bone or left hip, and create a little bit more support for your body in that way. And just bringing your attention, your focus inward. Letting everything release. Letting your mind get quiet. And then we're going to switch sides, bringing your hands back underneath your shoulders, bringing your weight into the hands, pressing into your right toes as you bring your left foot back to meet the right. Taking a moment to equalize between the two sides, and then lengthening back through the right foot, bringing the right knee in towards the chest, bringing the knee down between the hands, finding the position that feels right for your body, having the right foot slightly engaged. And then if you have any props, blocks, bolsters, blankets, cushions, pillows that you would like to use to support your body, get them tucked in. Find the position where your head feels supported. And then let go of effort. Resting in this position. Bringing your hands back down to the floor, walking your hands back up, curling your left toes under, pressing into hands and toes as you bring your right foot back into downward facing dog, walking your feet just a little bit. And then bringing your knees down to the floor and resting back into a child's pose. This is another position if you have a bolster or a cushion from your couch or some pillows, you can put that right between your knees and let your chest rest onto it. If not, just come into a child's position that feels good for you. Whatever arms, however far apart the knees, just find a position that you can rest into. And then as you're ready, letting your weight come into your arms and your hands, walking back up into seated position, stretching your arm out along the floor, sliding down, rolling over onto your back. Once again, if you have a bolster, cushions, or pillows, you can put them beneath your knees as we move into Shavasana. You could also bring your knees together and your inner thighs together with your feet out about the length, the width of your mat into constructed rest, or you can have your legs out straight, arms a little bit away from the body, palms facing up. And release all effort here. I know it can be tempting to want to skip this part, but especially for Pitta Dosha, this is the juice right here. This is the place where all of that work we've done in releasing tension and moving our energy, our prana, our life force, and bathing the cells in fluid and energy, this is where we get to restore. This is where the restoration actually happens, where our cells get to soak up all of that energy, all of that fluid. This is the place where our minds get to rest, where our bodies get to rest. Letting your attention go inwards, following the movement of your breath in your body. If there's anywhere that's still clenching, that's still holding on, see if you can offer the invitation of letting go. Feel free to stay in Shavasana as long as you like. If you're ready to move on, begin to bring some movement back into your body, fingers and toes. Noticing the space that you're in, the sounds, the feeling of air on your skin, and letting that movement in your hands and feet evolve into your body, waking your body up, moving in whatever ways would help your body to wake up, what would feel delicious right now, what would feel really good. And then making your way up into a seated position. Taking a moment with eyes closed or a soft gaze to check in with your body. How does it feel right now? What's changed from when you first sat down? And as you're ready, letting your eyes flutter open. Thank you so much for practicing with me. Thank you for trying something different, something that might have felt new or weird, maybe even uncomfortable. Or if this is something that you're really used to doing, thank you so much for joining me with your practice. Please like, subscribe, all those things that people do. I'm just a little person trying to share. Please, if you feel called, if you enjoyed the practice, like, subscribe, share it with people who you think might get some benefit from it. And stay tuned for more practices. Thank you.